Manningcast. Manningcast is fine, but you got to figure out a way. And Lee Fitting, the guy who started the Manningcast, is a friend of mine, and I love him. If he ever becomes the head of basketball again at ESPN, I'll go back to ESPN. I like him that much. He's a great dude. He's the guy that said, all right, we're going to put game day different places and make it great. Lee's in charge of football. Lee's in charge of Manning's. Lee's in charge of the whole deal. And he knows this. I'm not speaking out of school here. Lee knows that he caught lightning in a bottle early with the Manningcast. Then they were smart. They were smart, and you know what they did? They said, whoa, we're going to take a couple days off, a couple Mondays off. Let's let this breathe a little bit. And it worked. You came back, you couldn't wait. Last night, and maybe it's just my disdain for David Letterman, but last night I watched, and I'm like, it's played out. You watch Peyton and Eli and the guests, but you don't really hear the game. When you watch TV, and this sounds really weird, you want to hear stuff. I know TV is a visual medium, but when you watch it, there's a certain expectation of what you're going to hear. I said this before, it's like 1980 or something, 82. They started with, NBC, we're not having announcers at this NFL game. And I remember watching it for about a minute. And I thought, hey, I'm out of this. This is boring as hell. It was horrible. There's a certain expectation of sound, and they haven't figured that out yet. Lee Fitting, if anybody can figure it out, Lee Fitting will figure it out. But right now, I don't know. I know I'm in the wrong about this, but right now it's a little played out. And that's not Manning's fault. I mean, that is hard. That is freaking hard to sit there with a camera in your face. Wait, I do it for 2 hours. How hard can it be? It ain't hard. But they got to be funny. And they got advertisers. And they got people critiquing everything that they say. I mean, that ain't easy. Aiden Hutchinson, Jill Savage and I spoke about Aiden Hutchinson. Now, Aiden Hutchinson being invited to the College Football Heisman Trophy Award, I think is very, very cool. I get it. You got Stroud, you got the quarterback Pickett, you got the guy who's going to win in Young. But Aiden Hutchinson really typifies what Michigan's been about. Michigan, to me, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute, is the best team going on right now in the college football playoff. Like, I'm not sure it's close in terms of how they're playing. Aiden Hutchinson personifies that. Michigan isn't, I don't know, flashy, but Aiden Hutchinson and that defense, they legitimately beat the living hell out of two of, if not the two most physical teams in a physical league, the Big Ten. I mean, what they did to Ohio State, really, if you watch the game, it was in the slop, it was snowing. If you watch the game, you never got the sense that Ohio State was ever going to generate enough, number one, offense, and number two, toughness. I got those backwards. Number one, toughness, and number two, offense, to go ahead and win that football game. And then when you watch the Iowa game, you saw Iowa drive it down. You saw them miss a field goal early. And then you're like, well, maybe. And then, I don't know, 6 minutes later, you're like, it went from maybe to absolutely no shot. Zero shot. None. Zip. Zero. Zilch. Nada. I don't even know the Serbian word for it. Half my family, Jewish. I don't know the Jewish word for it. Nothing. Nada. I don't know. But I do know this. Neither Ohio State nor Michigan, or excuse me, nor Iowa had any shot whatsoever in that game. I do think it'd be interesting this. Let me combine the three of them. I missed Michigan's the best team in the college football playoff. Michigan is the best team right now. I don't think Georgia would have won the Big Ten. Not if they had to go through Ohio State and Michigan. I don't think Georgia would have won the other side of the SEC with Alabama and that crew. I watched Georgia. I heard about them. Fine. But Michigan right now is the best team going in there. Michigan right now is the team that if you really watch film, they're the last team in the world that you want to play. They just are. They've been through hell. They've come out of it. I think I saw where 15 of their 22 starters are juniors, seniors, or graduate seniors. They're older, which means in football, I know they know the scheme. I know they know Harbaugh's offense, defense. That's fine. But in football, old man bodies beat the living hell out of young man bodies 90% of the time. Every once in a while, you get a great freshman, don't get me wrong. Every once in a while, you get a freak. But man, when you're dealing with 22 to 24-year-olds in some cases, in college, in football, that's an old-ass man body. And frankly, those bodies wear the other team down. Michigan's best team in the college football playoff, and I'm really, really glad that Aiden Hutchinson got invited to the Heisman Trophy. I'm glad Pinkett did too. I think he's been pretty good. Bryce Young's going to win, and I'm glad for him because Bryce Young is a stud. And when I look at Bryce Young, I say, man, that's a cool dude. And I don't begrudge him $1 million. He's worth every dime. Now, some of the guys, other guys aren't worth what they're getting paid in scholarship, but that's a different argument for a completely different time. All right, let's change gears here. Jason Benetti. If you've watched football, basketball, White Sox baseball, Nerdcast, regular baseball on ESPN, you know the name Jason Benetti. Jason Benetti's my good friend. My wife says that Jason Benetti and I have, and I'm quoting here, this weird little thing. I'm a big fat bald guy that leans conservative. He is a smaller guy with cerebral palsy that one eye goes this way and he limps and he's a liberal. And yet we're as good of friends as two guys can possibly be. One's married, divorced, kids, stepkids. The other's single. 30s. I'm almost 60. Total opposite. But every day, damn near, we call one another, text one another, make fun of one another, and nothing is off limits. Nothing. There's nothing he can say to me about my physical appearance that I'm not going to laugh at. And there's nothing that I can say to him. Hell, we've bet on how many times he's going to fall in the airport when we're traveling together. I love Jason Benetti. But I got to tell you, not only do I love Jason Benetti, he's also the best broadcaster in the country. Play-by-play is better when Jason Benetti does all his smart stuff. And I don't care if it's with Bill Walton acting whacked out. I don't care whether it's with Steve Stone day after day after day being the best pairing in Major League Broadcasting. I don't care if it's me, now Robbie Hummel, doing college basketball. Here's the key, kids, to being a great play-by-play guy. It is the pipes. You got to have the pipes. You got to have the voice, all right? But the key to being a television announcer is to see the game. There is nothing worse than sitting here watching television and an announcer gets things dead ass wrong on what happened on a play. Now, Benetti knows that I make fun of him, and he makes fun of himself. Because of cerebral palsy, one eye goes this way, one eye goes that way, and he'll go, hey, where do you think I'm looking at? And well, okay. But the truth of the matter is, nobody sees the play better than Jason Benetti. And I mean nobody. Like, I'll text him and I'll say, man, this dude, whoever this dude is, may be the greatest announcer in the history of sport, but he doesn't see jack squat. He don't see nothing. Benetti sees everything. If Benetti gets it wrong, then it's simply a camera angle. You want Nerdcast in baseball? Nobody's nerdier than my boy Benetti. You want pop culture, hip-hop? Nobody's more attuned than Benetti. Give him a listen. Learn about him. When you learn about Jason Benetti, you're going to learn that Jason Benetti was in the band in high school. Because Jason Benetti had cerebral palsy, walks funny, couldn't march, they said, well, we'll give you a small instrument. You know what Benetti did? I want the tuba. He weighed no pounds. The tuba weighed many pounds. Benetti couldn't march. So you know what he did? He stood in the middle. While the marching band was going on behind him, he had this tuba on it. Wasn't a victim. You know what he was? Defiant. You know what he was? Aggressive. You know what he is? Great. I got a picture of Benetti at his prom. Hilarious. Hilarious. That's how we all should be. We should all be like Jason Benetti. See things clearly, accept who you are, be self-deprecating, and be able to make fun of somebody else once you get to know them. It ain't that serious, folks. Telling you. Be about, I don't know, I love Steve Levy, but 10 years from now, when Steve wants to hang it up, Benetti's going to be in the Monday night booth. Telling you. The best play-by-play guy in the world is Jason Benetti. Look him up, get to know him. And I swear to God, I wish I could get a picture of him with the tuba at Homewood Flossmoor High School and the marching band behind him marching. And he's sitting there. I know he was great at it, but he's trying to hold it up because nobody would laugh at himself more than my man Benetti. Great. Not good. Great. College basketball is a cesspool of overimportance. Like, you talk to college basketball players, they're so important. You talk to college basketball coaches, they are so important. And nobody ever thought themselves or their program to be more important than Mike Krzyzewski thinks his Duke program is. I mean, we all got it. I talked about it yesterday. You know, Krzyzewski losing his first 3 years. Let's not forget this day, blah, 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 blah. And everybody that comes out of that program has such an importance about him. Good for them. If Duke was so great as a university, then why are all their highest profile guys on the basketball team announcers? Hell, I'm an announcer, and I got a bullshit degree from Indiana that I didn't even try at. I digress. Indiana, they just give you a degree. Telecommunications was my major. Why? There was no math after I got a D+ in finite math, the hardest course in the history of the world. All these Duke guys in this uber serious program, what the hell are they doing? They're either coaching, general managers, or media guys. Do something good. If you're that great of a program and you guys are that great of people. I digress. Zion Williamson epitomized all of it, right? Zion Williamson out of South Carolina comes to Duke. And to get Zion Williamson, I mean, I'm not saying anything illegal went on. I have no idea. But I know it was a big deal. And Zion Williamson was really important. And people that watch basketball said this is the most explosive athlete that there is. People like myself and Seth Greenberg watched Zion Williamson and said this is one of the smartest basketball players we've ever seen. But, too much too soon. Great is how he was described. The next GOAT is what he was referred to before he'd ever played a game. We all said, myself, Seth Greenberg, and other people that actually know college basketball and are inside college basketball, not talking about us, I'm talking about people we talk to that are general managers and coaches. They all said, hey, he got to get that weight under control. You know, Charles Barkley had to get that weight under control. Tractor Trailer never got that weight under control. Oliver Miller never got that weight under control. A lot of guys have come through and very few got that weight under control. Greg Ostertag did, and then he didn't. When he did, he was very effective for the Utah Jazz. When he didn't, he was gone. Bryant Reed, you got to get that weight under control. When you are a heavy-set dude, when you are a thick dude, and you are a very good basketball player, two things are in play. Actually, with Zion Williamson, three. But I'll give you the two. You have great feet and you have great hands. Or else you couldn't play as a big, overweight, heavy-set guy. The third thing with Zion Williamson had unbelievable smarts and feel. And I'm sure he still has it. But I saw a picture of Zion Williamson the other day, and I got really sad because I think the kid should be the next great one because of his personality, because of his intelligence, because of his basketball acumen, and then, of course, the great athletic ability, but he can't get his weight under control. It's not hopeless. He's not helpless. Eventually, I hope he will do it, or else he'll be out of the league. I saw a picture of him, I think it was yesterday. Jeez. I felt terrible for him. Too much too soon's a bad thing. The Bible tells you just because you can have everything doesn't mean you should take it. Some point discipline has to come in. At some point the people that are around him have to hold him accountable. At some point a team or a league has to care enough about the kid to help him out. Look, I got ripped as a coach by people because I was too tough. But I knew where my heart was. I knew that people need to be held accountable, including myself. I don't see anybody holding Zion Williamson accountable. I think when he went to Duke for that 1 year, you're all excited. It's Coach K. All of a sudden, I go from being a high school / YouTube highlight guy to a guy that's talked about every single day. That is hard. Oh, that's hard. That's why I like Cam Newton, because Cam Newton handled it all, went and won a national championship at Auburn. But this Zion Williamson thing, now because of the weight, injuries are taking a toll. And let me tell you, I used to be about 200 pounds. Now I'm 250. I'm a fat ass, and it's all right here. And everything hurts. It does. You can literally tell when you drop 5 pounds as a fat ass, because when I drop 5 pounds, things hurt less. I couldn't imagine being overweight and being an athlete. Not easy. I hope somebody gets to Zion Williamson. I hope Zion Williamson gets to Zion Williamson, because too much too soon, you know, we see it all the time in the film industry. We see it all the time in the television industry. All you got to do is look at teen stars, child stars. They're a wreck. Oh, they're a train wreck. Basketball is no different. Remember Sebastian Telfair? How many times have you read about Sebastian Telfair being in trouble? He was the star of the show, man. He was NYC. He was the next biggest of the biggest of the biggest. Every time I open a newspaper and some former NBA player has trouble, it seems like it's Sebastian Telfair. I don't want that for Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson doesn't want that for Zion Williamson. Who the hell wants that? So let's replay. The Manningcast is boring and a bit played out. Michigan is the best team going into the college football playoffs. Aiden Hutchinson, along with not one, not two, but 3 quarterbacks, being invited to the Heisman Trophy ceremony is cool. I guess my question is, would you go? I think I would go. But if I know I'm not going to win, do I really want to go and sit there? Maybe I do. I meet a lot of people. It'd be a cool experience. Jason Benetti is America's best announcer. No question. If you don't know it, you'll know it. And a lot of people, I'm assuming, are agreeing with me. And somebody, please help Zion Williamson. I mean, let's be honest. Other thing. Now I'm thinking about it. Amani Bates. Amani Bates is a kid that his dad, think about this. His dad took him out of high school. He's a kid up in East Lansing and Ypsilanti area, Michigan. He's the next big thing we all read about. He's the guy. Sound like Jim Valvano there. And I'm proud to sound like Jim Valvano. But Amani Bates is the guy. Commits to Michigan State. This kid doesn't go to a high school. This kid's high school is like the Bates Academy that his dad starts in, I think, a strip mall. So he goes over and says, nah, I'm not going to play for Izzo. Why? Well, I'm sure Penny Hardaway, I'm an NBA guy. Izzo's too tough, whatever. It doesn't matter. So now he's, as a 17-year-old, goes to Memphis to play in an undisciplined program where you've got older guys jealous of you. That's a tough thing. Too much too soon. No discipline. Now you're struggling. Let's see how you handle it. And the beauty of Imani Bates is this. He got everybody and their mothers saying, don't worry about it. You'll be the first pick in the draft anyway. The world we live in. Too much too soon, man. I'm glad, and I know a lot of people make fun of me. I'm glad I've been fired. I'm glad I've been divorced. I'm glad I've had disappointments. I am. I'm glad, Michael Jordan got cut from his high school team. No, he didn't. He went and played JV. I did too. Kid you see on MLB Network, Dan Plesac, was brought up ahead of me. I'm glad that happened. I didn't like it at the time, but I'm glad I didn't have too much too soon.